Oh, Glover. I never thought using my glove hand and playing with balls could be so mediocre, and yet that's what you are. Just a ball slapping, wall pounding game with a couple of cool ideas and not much else. Let's talk about it. Glover, the N64 game where you play as well. Glover. It's an obscure platforming game where you live in a land called the Crystal Kingdom that rules over 6 other realms. And in the center of the Crystal Kingdom is the Crystal Castle where your wizard overlord lives with his 2 sentient gloves, Glover and Glovel, to do his bidding. And one day, your wizard overlord makes a mistake mixing potions, as all wizards do, which creates an accident that causes a large explosion. This explosion sends Glover, you the player, out the castle, and Glovel into a cauldron where he becomes the main antagonist. The 7 crystals scattered across the Crystal Kingdom, where 1 crystal falls into each realm. Before the crystals scatter to each realm, Glover transforms all the crystals into rubber balls where one of the 7 smacks you in the face. This is where you, the player, steps in as Glover. Get the crystals, stop Glovel, and bring back your wizard overlord. And the game starts off simple enough. You start at your first realm to find your first crystal, and basically what the game wants you to do is go from point A to point B. It's up to you to get to the end with the rubber ball you're carrying. You see, you can't just beat a level without having your rubber ball on hand. And how you get there is what makes this game. The ball will have somewhat of interesting interactions with the levels throughout the game, such as bouncing the rubber ball at your enemies. You can throw the ball on higher levels. Oh, the ball can be transformed to other balls. Oh yeah. What is one of the cooler moments in Glover is the ability to morph your ball. At any time you're holding the rubber ball, you can also morph the ball into other types of balls. And each of these balls serve a different purpose in the game. For example, the rubber ball that you start with is light, which you can throw and bounce around the map. The rubber ball also floats in the water, which is cool because you can also get on the rubber ball and walk on it to traverse levels that have water. There's also a bowling ball, which is heavy and slow to move around, but it can break through walls, it can sink in the water, and hurt enemies that get hit by the bowling ball. You also have a ball-bearing ball that was small and made of metal, which interacted with certain parts of the level depending where you were in the game. There was also a crystal ball, which was shaped as a 20-sided dice, which I just don't remember what it did. Anyways, while the ability to morph the ball is the source of the fun for this game, you also do things without the ball, such as ground slam the enemies and double jump to get to a hard-to-reach platform. You have to use these different types of balls and abilities to reach platforms, get collectibles, and fight off the enemy and bosses. Now, with so many platforming games, I do have to bring this up. You are trying to control another inanimate object that isn't attached to you. The controls, if I recall based off memory, they weren't terrible, but not quite great. You could, for the most part, move the ball to the way you wanted to, whether that was pushing the ball or standing on the ball. You had to slap the ball at enemies, and though that was frustrating, especially if you're a little kid, you were able to succeed, and whatever it was you're doing for the most part. You could, though, accidentally slap your ball off the edge of the world. And this is where the game starts to deflate. As mentioned before, there are 6 realms in the game with the Crystal Kingdom connecting these realms together. You go from one realm to the next, trying to collect each crystal that landed in their respected realm. At the end of each realm, you had a boss, like so many games do. And to say the least, the realms in this game are uninspiring and not interesting. Everything feels like an afterthought. You can see the edge of the maps, and it's obviously just empty, barren voidness. Just the empty void. The realms also don't mesh well. The very first level you go to is Atlantis. Atlantis! The realm after Atlantis? You go to a freaking circus that doesn't have those cool games that when you win, you get an awesome sweet stuffed animal. The bosses also feel like an afterthought. In the Atlantis realm, you have to go against a fish, crab, and a whale, who are stacked on top of each other. You slap them around a little bit, and that was it. No strong interaction besides hitting them with your ball. Your other boss is that of a clown, and you had someone called Frankie. Frank's an okay guy. That means the bosses are forgettable and didn't have the interactions you would want from a game. Puzzles, though some were interesting thanks, again, to having the ability to morph the ball into different shapes and weight, didn't offer much. There were some frustrating times, such as if you slapped the ball too hard, it would fall off the edge of the world. And the writing is no different. Basically, everything I explained in the beginning of this video is the story. Because of that, the game is barren. There are no characters to speak of. Besides, your evil twin glove brother who wants to rule the Magic Kingdom because of, potions. Though the writing is strong enough to give the protagonist a motive to save the Crystal Kingdom, the Crystal Kingdom has nothing worth saving. And that's what Glover is, isn't it? Just a platformer with a unique way to move around the stage collecting collectibles. The game had uninspiring maps, uninspiring bosses, with uninspiring characters, with what very few characters were in the game. Its saving grace is true to the ball and how that ball interacted with you as the player. Thank you everyone for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed another episode of Let's Talk About It, where I talk about video games and what makes them what they are, such as the game loop, the story, among what makes a game a game. If you guys want to see more episodes, then to be sure to just like and subscribe down below and to be kept up to date. Also, at the time of this recording, I have learned that Glover has just been released onto Steam. I have no affiliation with the game, with Steam or anything. It's just since I just recorded this at the time that it was released, I thought I would simply keep you guys in the know-how of it. Make sure to give the game a try and let me know what you guys think of the game down below. Have a good day, everyone. Eat well, be well, rest well. This is Luke Frankenstein signing off. Bye-bye.